Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to everyone who contributed on Twitter. Earlier this week, I sent out a tweet asking for some Q&A questions. I want to know your questions, and I'm going to answer some of your questions, or all of your questions if I can, in this video. I've got my phone here, and I'm going to turn on the screen recording so you guys can, I'm going to put it up beside me so you guys can actually see what I'm scrolling through and see the questions, so I don't have to take screenshots and add them and post and everything. It's just way easier this way. So let's get into it. And I think there's 57 replies to the tweet, so this could maybe take 20 or 25 minutes, I'm not sure, but anyways, let's get it going. First question comes from Canadian Jock. What lesson or new perspective did you develop from this COVID quarantine? Lesson or perspective? I think maybe it's not a lesson, maybe, or a perspective, but I've learned that people don't listen. Like, people just don't listen. The recommendations I've seen people walking, I've seen people leave a house and go to another house and get a person, and then they go for a walk. And this was before they loosened up the regulations here in New Brunswick, which they did, I think, 2 days ago. But people just don't listen, and I've really gathered a new perspective, I guess, on the ignorance of some people who just don't care to listen or don't care to do the right thing, even if it's for 3 weeks or if it's for 2 months. They just don't care. They want to do what they want to do, and it is surprising. I would have liked to think that I had more faith in humanity, but there are just some people just, I don't know. Next question, Kim. If the pandemic ended tomorrow, do you think it would be viable to have a Stanley Cup playoffs, and when is your cutoff saying we can't hold them? Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that for me, there's not really a cutoff. I genuinely believe that this NHL season will not be completed, and we will not have a Stanley Cup. But personally, in my opinion, I would do anything to have a Stanley Cup winner this year, whether that's, end the season where it is right now and just go to the playoffs and play them condensed playoffs or whatever. I want to see that Stanley Cup handed out. So to have a year that is not handed out would be disastrous to me. It would, I don't know, it would be such a bad memory, regardless of the COVID, all the deaths, the deaths and everything, and the sick people. Obviously, that's a bad memory. But just to add on, as a loyal, loving hockey fan, to not have the Stanley Cup rewarded, even to a team that maybe I don't even like, is a tragedy, in my opinion. The next question, Audie James. What is your most cherished hockey card that you've ever pulled from a pack? I'm going to have to say it's not technically a card, but it was a printing plate. And I don't know if I have it here. If I can find it, I'll take a picture of it later and put it in the video. But it's hockey cards are most... Everything is printed in CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And there are different plates per color when you print a hockey card. So there'll be a cyan plate, there'll be a yellow plate, and I got a Fleury, I think it was yellow. Pretty sure it was yellow. Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury yellow printing plate. There's only one. There's only one. There's not like 4 or 5 or 1 of 20, whatever. There's only one, and I got it. It's not worth that much. It's worth like $100, but to me, the fact that that's the only one out there makes it really special to me. Flamed C asks, do you think the Flames are going to use both retro jerseys and bring back the horsehead next season? I don't think they're going to maybe ever bring back the horsehead. I just don't see it happening. They already have the 2 alternate jerseys, so we'll see them next year for sure, but I'm going to say no on the horsehead. Caniac for life. Not a question, but hoping you and the whole cast are staying safe, as well as prayers to Nova Scotia. Absolutely, definitely prayers to Nova Scotia. Bryant asks, you have one of these former players to build a team around. Which one do you pick? Mike Modano, Pavel Bure, or Owen Nolan? Dang, well, I mean, you got Pavel Bure, the Russian superstar, very offensively talented. Owen Nolan, obviously offensively talented and can throw the body, maybe throw some knuckles as well. But I'm going to go with Mike Modano here. He's kind of the more complete all-around player, in my opinion. So I'm probably going to give this one to Mike. Tony asks, what are some good things that you've been getting out of the quarantine? Discovered any new interest or acquired a new skill? Let's spread some positivity. Definitely haven't learned any new skills, any new interests. Been watching some TV shows. I guess that's not really an interest. I would say that I've realized that I would be okay in a zombie apocalypse or any kind of apocalypse where I didn't have to leave the house. I'm an introvert, and breaking my ankle last year, almost exactly a year ago, and having to spend 3 months inside, basically on bed rest, makes this really easy for me. Like, I am not suffering at all. I don't find this difficult. I actually am thriving. I quite like being alone, and just, this doesn't bother me at all. So if I've learned anything, or I would say I know that if I am to be alone the rest of my life, that I will be okay. That sounds really bad, but is the truth. Sam asks, podcast coming back anytime soon, or is it going to be impossible till after the pandemic? Not impossible. Jason and I can definitely go on Discord or Skype or whatever, and have a conversation and stuff, and complete a podcast. But number one, there's not really anything to talk about other than stuff that we've already kind of theorized way back when this was announced. So it would just be kind of recycling an old conversation, and there's not really anything new to talk about. So I'd kind of just rather put it to bed for now, and then once we get some maybe major news or some developments, then we'll either get together physically if we can, or via Skype or something like that. But no timeline. It really depends on what's going on. Justin, a favorite quote from the movie Stepbrothers. That's a really good question. I don't know. There's so many amazing quotes from that movie. Probably when he tells him not to put his nuts on his drum set. That whole scene is magical. Valve37, if you ran the NHL, what's one thing you would do to make hockey more popular? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I would say make ticket prices cheaper and make merchandise cheaper. I don't know if that would make it popular or not, but that's just a selfish answer for me that would help me. Carter asks, how many NHL arenas have you been to? Okay, so I've been to the Bell Center in 2008, late 2008, almost 2009. I've been to Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. I've been to TD Garden in Boston. I've been to T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. I think that's it. 4, that's it. Hockey Guy 66871 says, if you could only eat one food for the rest of the coronavirus pandemic, what would it be and why? I'm very simple when it comes to food. I'm actually 100% boring when it comes to food. So, I could live off mustard if I had to. I could eat the same thing every day and it wouldn't bother me, but I'd probably choose chicken nuggets or something. Becca asks, do you own any UK hockey jerseys? Will you ever watch UK hockey? What is your favorite hockey memory? Ooh. Yes, I do own some UK hockey jerseys. I think 3. Lovely fans have sent some in our Mail Time series. Will you ever watch UK hockey? I have in the past, and I definitely will in the future. What is your favorite hockey memory? I might have to sit on that one. I don't know. I have a lot of really good hockey memories. The year 2010, when Montreal kind of went on that Cinderella run, they got into the playoffs 8th. They defeated the number 1 Washington Capitals, went on to the second round, defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was just a magical time for me as a Canadiens fan. Unfortunately, they did lose to the Philadelphia Flyers in the third round, but it was a really, really good hockey memory for me. Tanner asks, how should fans create soccer-style ultras groups, creating tifos, unique flags, songs, and chants? It could help make the fan experience far better, and another way to help the sport grow worldwide. I have no idea what you're talking about. How should fans create soccer-style ultras groups? I don't know. Jack Barra, will the Islanders win a cup in the 2020s, you think? Yes. Alex, is there anything in your life, event, person, etc., that really solidified you being a fan of hockey? Person, absolutely. My dad raised me to be a hockey fan. He's a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan, born and raised in Montreal. So naturally, I was raised as a Canadiens fan. So he was really the driving factor of me being surrounded by hockey from a very early age. And, he didn't force it upon me. I just naturally liked it because I wanted to be like Dad. So I wanted to cheer for Montreal. I wanted to play hockey. So, yeah, I'm just person, definitely Dad. Raznest 2000. 1. Do you think the season will return? No. 2. Thoughts on Oilers' future? Oilers' future looks pretty bright. I mean, they got two amazing superstars up front. I think they need to get their goaltending situation in order and probably find some help up along the left side. They've got one of the weakest left sides in the NHL. So if they can get those two things, work on the defense and the goaltending and help support McDavid and the rest on the left side, I think they'll be okay. Tommy Orton, if the 1920 season is considered null and void, what happens to Ovi's goal total? You mean long term? Like, does he, since he's losing this, 4 months of potential hockey, if they go far in the playoffs, will his goal total be sacrificed, or do you mean that this year wouldn't count in his goal total? I think it would definitely count. I think he still has time, even if the season was canceled now. There's no playoffs. He's got time to break that record, I think. Holden asks, if you were the commissioner of the NHL and had to remove a team from the league for whatever reason, who would it be and why? That's a really good question. I'll say Florida. I don't think that maybe the team that deserves it, but as far as hold on now. Did you say remove a team? Remove a team from the NHL. I don't think I would remove a team because I want 32 teams. So I'm going to reword your question. I'm going to move a team. I'd like to move Florida to Quebec. But I also kind of want to move the Arizona Coyotes somewhere a little bit more east, maybe to Houston or something. And that would really align the divisions quite well. So I don't know. I guess I didn't really answer your question, but maybe. Brandon, number one, what's the worst job you've ever had? Bread baker. I used to be a bread baker for a grocery store, and it was an overnight shift. I did that for a year, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. It was garbage. What is one job you'd never want to have? Garbage man? I don't know. Public speaker. Hunter Howard, when's the next time you think all 31 hockey arenas will be full again? Probably the fall of this year. The hated one, Harley, asks, which team besides Montreal would you like to see have a third jersey? Ooh, that's a really good question. I have to go through the list of teams that don't have a third jersey right now. I wouldn't mind Florida having a third jersey. The Rangers. The Rangers need a third jersey. Bring back that Liberty one. Do you still get a foot behind your head? What? Megan, what's the most useless fact you know? Oh gosh. The most useless fact I know? Most of the facts that I know are like either hockey related or space related, so maybe we should make this hockey. No, let's make it space. Okay. Venus, the planet Venus. Here's a useless, completely useless fact. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. So, one sec. Let me grab something. All right. Let's pretend that this. Oh, hold on. What are you doing? Let's pretend that this is Venus. Okay. So a day on Earth is one complete rotation of the planet. Same with Venus. One day is a complete rotation. Now, a year on Venus is shorter than a day on Venus. A day is longer on Venus. Venus rotates so slow that when it does a complete rotation around the sun and a year has passed, Venus has not turned to complete a day. 243 days, Earth days to complete one Venus day, and an orbit around the sun for Venus is 225 Earth days. So a year on Venus is shorter than a day on Venus. Useless fact. All right, your next question, because you tweeted me again. What is your favorite genre of music? It really goes all over the place. Sometimes I'll want to listen to country. Sometimes I'll want to listen to metal or hard rock. Other times I'll want to listen to like electric. So it's really, really all over the place. I would say mostly probably metal or hard rock because I used to play guitar, and those are a lot of the songs that I used to play. Another question from Megan. Do you have a word or phrase you say way too much? Heck yeah. Drew Kelly, what are your top 5 shows to watch on Netflix, or top 3? Ooh, if you guys haven't watched Dark, I think a German show. It's not, it's English dubbed and English subtitled, but it's not filmed in English. It is one of the most amazing series I've ever watched in my life. It's about time travel. It happens in kind of a little community. It is so good. You must watch it. I'm currently watching Game of Thrones, so I probably recommend that. I've enjoyed that so far. Ozark was really good as well. Alex, what's some things you would recommend doing or going to in the Fredericton area? Just moved to the base. Oh, nice. And don't know the area. Thanks for great content. There's some wonderful walking trails along Fredericton, right along the river. There's a walking bridge that you can cross and walk on the north side or the south side, depending on where you are. Downtown Fredericton is beautiful. Kingswood, up kind of by Hanwell, has bowling and some video game stuff, golf course. I don't know, if you asked me about PEI, I'd be able to tell you a lot more, but yeah, those are some things in Fredericton that you could do potentially. No Cap Bills. Question number 1. Which team do you think Braden Holtby is going to sign with? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get a vibe. I have no gut feeling there. So I generally don't even really have an opinion. Which teams do you think are interested in Dustin Byfuglien? No teams. Windy City Hockey. If the pandemic ended today, do you think the NHL would go into the playoffs or have every team play an equal amount of games, not of 82, maybe 75 games to go into the playoffs? Yeah, I guess they would have to play the equal amount of games probably to make it 100% completely fair. So that would be kind of an unnecessary amount of travel, though. So I'm going to say they just go right into the playoffs and just screw the season. Let's just go play some playoff hockey. Benjamin Kiro, a bit of a deeper question. What do you think happens after death? I don't know. Hopefully lots of fun things. Chucky, favorite TV show? The Office. Cubs fan 44. Most special moment with the GOAT on the channel. Probably, I think the first mail time, because way back when the channel first started, in the first 6 months, we were asked to open up a P.O. box if people wanted to send us letters. We did that, and what we got was like some packages with some jerseys and some crazy stuff. So that was a really special moment for us, because it kind of solidified what we were doing. That people loved what we were doing so much that they were willing to like pay to send us stuff, and that was a really special moment for us. I think we kind of both were like, wow, like this is pretty cool. Chris Zarella. What do you think the NHL should do if the season resumes? Finish the season? 2. What is your favorite fast food restaurant? Chick-fil-A. Heck yeah. Back to your question. What do you think the NHL should do if the season resumes? Yeah, I mean, finish the season and maybe play condensed playoffs or finish the playoffs. Let's award the Stanley Cup. Ethan, do you think teams will start using custom player goal songs? If so, when? I don't think they will anytime soon. If they do, probably not for another 4 or 5 years. But it would definitely be interesting if they did. I would maybe like that. Sean asks, before the NHL put a pause in the season, the East basically had a 5-team race separated by 3 points for the 2 wildcard positions. Which teams would have secured the wildcard spots had the NHL not paused the season? Oh, Sean, you're asking me a question about standings, and I've not looked at the standings in like a month and a half, so I don't even remember what teams were around the wildcard position. I think Philadelphia was on a roll, so I don't think that they were necessarily near the wildcard. Columbus, Carolina, the Islanders. I don't really know. I literally can't answer this question because I haven't looked at the standings in that long. America's number 1 Chelsea supporter. Favorite soccer team? I don't really have one, to be honest. Another question: favorite car brand? I'm gonna say Toyota, or Toyota, just because I used to work for Toyota, and I have a Toyota. My family's generally always had Toyotas. They've always been reliable, so I'd say Toyota. Counter Gecko 195. What's your favorite video game of all time? Probably Halo. Halo was such a revolutionary game for me that it didn't change my life, but it was just monumental. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. So, and I still like to play Halo randomly now. So yeah, Halo. Moose09. Will we ever see a top 50 of Neil's favorite players and maybe a top 10 of his least? Probably not top 10 of my least. Top 50 of my favorite? That would be a long video, so probably not. Maybe a top 10 or top 15, though. Spencer, have you met any NHL players or any famous people in general? And if so, what was your experience with them like? The only NHL player that I've really met in person was Darcy Tucker, like way back. I think I was like 6, so I don't really have an opinion. I don't even really remember. I just have a photo. Patrick, do you like Prince music? Not really. Timothy, do you have any plans for getting more tattoos? Good question. So I do have a tattoo here, and it's of Spitfire, which my grandfather flew in World War II, and he flew for a 421 squadron. And I'm going to have this whole arm be kind of war themed. It's going to take a while, obviously, but I wanted to pay homage to him and those who fight in any war, really. So there's still some planning to go, but I'm close to having a complete vision in my head. Matt, if you could attend one, would you rather attend an NFL game, an MLS game, or an NBA game? Probably an NFL game, just because the fans are so crazy. There's so many people, and it's just wild. Also, hope you're staying safe and your family is doing well. Thank you, Matt. I'm staying safe, and my family is doing well. Scott says, what are your favorite hockey cards you owned, top 5 or top 3? Probably all, like that Fleury one that I mentioned earlier in the video, and probably 2 Saku Koivu cards. I think I have a signed Saku Koivu card, so that's definitely up there. Yeah, that has to be that. Jack says, have you ever traveled on Via Rail, and if so, what did you think? And would you ever do it again? I'd absolutely do it again, and I have in the past. I was very young, though, so I don't really remember it, but I would love to travel on a train. That's like a dream of mine, but it's so expensive, I'll probably never do it, unfortunately. Scott, favorite Will Ferrell movie? Stepbrothers. Tim, if you could pick one former or current player to fight, who would it be? You have to pick someone. Scott Gomez, just because I don't like what he did in Montreal. Just me, what is the thing you miss most during the lockdown, and where's the first place you will go when it finished? First place I'll go is probably the movies. I really like to go watch movies. I really enjoy the movie experience, or the theater experience. I think that I miss most being able just to go to whatever store I wanted, whenever I want, and get whatever I wanted. I don't like this having to do it at a certain time and keeping distance and all this stuff. I do it, I respect it, but I don't like it. Carson, what gives you the biggest sense of pride as a Canadian? As a Canadian, there's a lot to be proud of. So, just because I'm a little space nerd, so I'm going to say the Canadian arm. Devin, if you could sit down and have dinner with any celebrity, who would it be and why? Probably Theo Vaughn, just because I think his mind is so interesting, just the way that he thinks. I would love to have a conversation with him and just to see what kind of stuff he comes up with. Scott asks, what is your opinion on players touching the President's Trophy if their team wins it? Do you think that they should or should not? I'm very superstitious, so I would not touch it, and I would recommend players not touch it. I think that's some bad luck, so 2-1-2-1-2-1-2-1-2-1-2-1-2. Have you watched Mitch Marner stream on Twitch yet? No, I don't watch anyone on Twitch. I don't get the mentality of watching people play games or whatever. I'd rather play the game than watch someone play the game, so I have not. Last question, Sean. Do you think that Mike Modano is the greatest American hockey player of all time? No, I don't think he is, although I think he's a very good player with a wonderful career. I don't think he's the best of all time. thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. I really appreciate it. I had fun going through those. I apologize if some of the answers were maybe not exactly what you were looking for, but I did the best I could. I will do something like this again in the future if you guys are interested. If you are, please let me know down in the comments section. I would really, really appreciate that. I'm really kind of looking for some guidance and some content to make. There's not a lot of hockey going on. Like, by that, I mean, like, there's not a lot of hockey news going on, so there's like nothing I can really talk about there. I can rank some stuff and whatever, but that kind of gets old if I do too much of it. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section. Hope you guys are having an awesome day, and stay safe, and we'll see you in the next Q&A probably in maybe like a month. So anyways, take care guys. Adios.